Hi, and welcome. You're listening to the X22 Report. My name is Dave, and this is episode 1931B, and today's date is July 31st, 2019, and the title of the episode is 24-Hour Warning, News Cycle Shift, Be Vigilant. Now, before I get started, I wanted to talk about Roundup Weed Killer. You know the stuff that you spray on weeds in your lawn or on your patio to kill the weeds. Well, it has been declared cancer-causing by the World Health Organization. Glyphosate in Roundup is likely a cancer-causing agent, according to the World Health Organization's International Agency for Research on Cancer. See if you qualify for compensation today. Get information about the ever-changing legal environment surrounding Roundup. We can explain your legal rights. Please visit claimroundup.com and see if you qualify for compensation. Let's get into the economic collapse, political and geopolitical news. Now, we know that the Patriots, they're getting ready to dump information about the deep state. And this has to do with George Papadopoulos. It has to do with many others. And they're going to be dripping this information out. Now, we know that the deep state, they always plan events to clog the news cycles. And we can expect something like this. Actually, Q confirmed this, which we'll be getting into a little bit later. But before we get into that, I wanted to talk about Jussie Smollett. We know that there's a federal investigation going on right now. We also know that there's a special prosecutor investigating into what has happened with Jussie Smollett, Kim Foxx, and the rest. And Tina Glandian, who is the attorney for Jussie Smollett, she appeared in front of Judge Michael Tuman on behalf of Smollett to overturn the judge's own decision to appoint a special prosecutor to investigate how the actor's case was handled. But it didn't work. The special prosecutor said, you know something? I'm dismissing the motion. The special prosecutor is going to look into this. We're going to get to the bottom of what happened here. Whether any laws broken. And we can see that everything is moving forward with Jussie Smollett. Now, we know that Trump doesn't tweet or say something unless he has facts to back it up. Now, in the beginning stages, when he comes out with something, people say, oh, he has unsupported evidence. He's just out there saying things and he has nothing to back it up. And then later on, as more and more information comes out, you find out that he does have the facts. Now, of course, the mainstream media is going to be out there saying that he has nothing to make it seem like he's crazy. He's just out there spewing this stuff out there. But he always has the facts, the truth, the evidence to support what he's saying. And there's a reason why he points out certain things like Baltimore, San Francisco, Elijah Cummings. These are all the same exact players that are going to be taken down. And what's very interesting is that Representative Elijah Cummings, he declined an offer to tour a Baltimore Housing and Urban Development HUD facility with HUD Secretary Ben Carson on Wednesday. Now, why did he decline? Because if he was there, they would see that everything's run down, it's rat infested, and people would ask him questions. And he already knew that Baltimore was a drug-infested, rat-infested, and they had lots of problems. If we go back to 1999, he actually said this. Take a listen.
I'm sure that you are well aware that I'm a strong advocate of sound counter-narcotics efforts. And I will say it every single time I have an opportunity. Sometimes I really just think we don't get it. This morning, I left my community of Baltimore, a drug-infested area, where a lot of the drugs that we're talking about today have already taken the lives of so many children.
And the situation in Baltimore did not improve since then. It has gotten worse and worse and worse. And people are asking questions. Where is the money? All this money that is headed down to Baltimore, where is it gone? Now, of course, we know that Baltimore, Elijah Cummings, they've been receiving a lot of money. And Trump is pointing this out. He's exposing, making people ask questions. And remember, the deep state players, they don't want this exposed. They don't want people asking questions. This is supposed to be behind the scenes. They're not supposed to know that the money is being siphoned off and, used for other things, like people putting it in their pockets, giving it to friends. Just like when Trump mentioned Puerto Rico, how many people have been arrested already? The governor resigned. Everyone said he was crazy. And now we find out that, yes, the money was not going to help the people. It's corruption. That's what it is. These people are crooks. Now, I.G. Horowitz, he's been investigating, auditing where all this money has gone. And they give money. They come back and they say, okay, where is this money? Why isn't it being used to help build this or do this or help with crime or anything like this? Now, the whole purpose of Trump pointing out Baltimore is, I do believe that this was a sting operation because Trump gave Baltimore a lot of money. A lot of money went into the system. Now it's all gone. Horowitz has been looking into this because they do audits. I believe that this was a setup. And Joe M. at Storm is Upon Us kind of sums it all up with one tweet. The whole Baltimore scandal was a sting. Trump gave $16 billion to revive the slums, and crooked Democrats stole it all. We knew they would, and Horowitz watched the whole thing play out while taking notes. Now we have them, and are coming to collect. And think about this. Think about what is happening here. All of this has been behind the curtains. No one sees it. Every time someone mentions it, the mainstream media protects these individuals. These individuals and their friends say, this is not happening. Don't worry about it. And everyone says, okay, it's not happening. Trump now is exposing all of this. And this is why these people are screaming and yelling. They're panicking because the curtain is being drawn back. And the people are now being shown what is happening. And this is not just happening with states within and cities within the United States. We're talking about the Red Cross. We're talking about Planned Parenthood. We're talking about all of these systems where they're taking the funds and diverting it into different areas. And it's not areas that people think. It's their pockets. It's to help other friends. It's not to help the cause that it was originally laid out for. And Trump has just pulled back the curtain and he's showing everyone what is really going on here. Now, we know that Dan Coates, he is out. And Trump mentioned that, we're going to nominate Radcliffe. Now, will Radcliffe get the position? We don't know. But we can see how the deep state players, they are panicking. They don't want anyone else in there that they can't control, that's not on their side, that actually is going to do the work. Dianne Feinstein. Now, this is very interesting with Dianne Feinstein. She lashed out at Radcliffe and said he appears to lack the experience needed for the job. She said, by law, this position requires extensive national security expertise. Congressman Radcliffe appears to lack the experience needed for the job. Really, Dianne Feinstein? Let's go back a little bit. Remember when she was the ranking member of the Senate Judiciary Committee, also served on the Senate Intelligence Panel? But yet she was caught with a Chinese spy on her payroll, a man she had employed and paid for over 20 years. She reportedly found out that her staffer was a Chinese spy in 2013, while she was the chairman of the Senate Intelligence Committee. And the Chinese spy mysteriously appeared on the scene in 1993, just 1 year after Feinstein was elected to the Senate in 92. Is this a coincidence? No. Guess what? They're panicking. And if you go along with her narrative that Radcliffe doesn't know what he's doing, and you go back to when she had this Chinese spy, and we know that she placed this person in there, she knew about it, she's pretending she didn't. Well, did she have the experience? No. What they're really afraid of is that anyone that Trump nominates, doesn't matter if it's Radcliffe or anyone else, and Radcliffe might just be a distraction while Trump brings in the real person he wants. Let them make a really big deal over this and then bring in the person he really wants. They're afraid that this person is going to actually do the job. That's what they're afraid of. This person will no longer be on their side, protecting them. That's why they're panicking. Because all the blocks, everything that they had in place is now removed. Now, yesterday we talked about how a federal judge dismissed the DNC lawsuit against Trump and his campaign about Russia and WikiLeaks. And we know that their entire case, the entire deep state narrative was based on Russia. It is now falling apart. Trump tweeted out the following: "Wow, a federal judge in the Southern District of New York completely dismissed a lawsuit brought by the Democratic National Committee against our historic 2016 campaign for president. The judge said the DNC case was entirely divorced from the facts, yet another total and complete vindication and exoneration from the Russian, WikiLeaks, and every other form of hoax perpetrated by the DNC. Radical Democrats and others, this is really big stuff, especially coming from a highly respected judge who was appointed by President Clinton. The witch hunt ends. And the Russian story is falling apart. And we know that no one ever looked at the DNC server. The FBI didn't. They had their own people, the CrowdStrike, issue some type of report. And we know that this was an inside job. Now, Judicial Watch, they have uncovered new documentation. They obtained 6 pages of records from the FBI showing that 1 month after FBI Director James Comey was fired by Trump, FBI agents visited Comey's home to retrieve 4 Trump memos as evidence. The agents showed up to Comey's home to collect the evidence in June, and one of his memos was written on June 6, nearly a full month after he was fired on May 9th. The memos retrieved by FBI agents on June 7, 2017 were dated February 14th, 2017, March 30th, 2017, April 11th, 2017, and one was dated last night at 6:30 p.m. The FBI docs also revealed that Comey recalled 2 agents that he wrote 2 other memos after he spoke with Trump that he claimed were missing. Now, according to Comey, one of the missing memos was emailed to Rybicki and McCabe. It is important to note the FBI visit on June 7 took place the day before Comey admitted leaking the Trump memos to his friend, turned lawyer, turned unpaid FBI official, Daniel Richman, who then leaked the contents of the memos to the New York Times. The New York Times published a report on May 16, 2017, based on Comey's memos related to his conversation with Trump about General Flynn, and the next day Mueller was appointed as special counsel. Now, we need to understand is that these memos, they were fake. Q told us back in post 1190 that the memos are fake. They were guided by Loretta Lynch, plus 3 classifications. Think special counsel, all written same time. Loretta Lynch directed Comey to write the memos. The entire purpose of this was to launch the special counsel investigation. This was all a hoax. And it was planned out to get the special counsel in there to investigate. And of course, it did not work for them because Mueller's report reported that there was no collusion, no obstruction. When he testified in front of Congress, they got the same exact results. They were expecting collusion, obstruction so they can push impeachment, but that completely failed. Let's get into some of Q's posts. This is post 3559, and this is a Twitter link from Victoria Gates, and it says, you need an ID for all these, but not to vote. And it's a graphic, and it says ID required. So this is what you need an ID for: alcohol, cigarettes, opening a bank account, apply for food stamps, welfare, Medicaid, Social Security, unemployment, rent, buy a house, drive by, rent a car, get on an airplane, get married, purchase a gun, adopt a pet, rent a hotel room, apply for a hunting license, apply for a fishing license, buy a cell phone, visit a casino, pick up a prescription, hold a rally or protest, blood donations, buy M-rated video game, purchase nail polish at CVS, purchase certain cold medicines, enter state and federal buildings. You don't need an ID to vote. So why isn't it racist to have an ID to do all these things, but it's only racist if you have an ID to vote? Well, it isn't. They made that up. Down below, Q says, logical question. Post 3560. Q gives us a Twitter link to Battleborn, and it says, why does the Red Cross have all this money? Where is it going? And this is the video of all the Red Cross boxes with cash inside. So let me continue with the tweet. This is the hidden answer in the video only one person has noticed. Great job, Joe. And Joe pointed out that the video that Q posted wants to know, why is there paper attached to the top of the box that was open, which was full of American tender written in Arabic? It's definitely Middle Eastern. And then links to Muammar Gaddafi's lost treasure may be stashed in boxes hidden around Africa. Gives us an article that shows the Red Cross boxes. All the cash is in there, and this tells you something. And this brings us back to all the paid mercenaries in Libya, Lebanon, Syria, Iraq, you name it. This is how they funded their operation. This is how they got cash to purchase arms, to pay certain rebel groups. This is how they moved the funds. And you can see that this is just one area where the Red Cross does these type of things. And under it, it says logical question, Q. Let's move on to post 3561. Now, Q decided to expand all of this and give us documents on the Red Cross audits and investigations. The first link is mediaifrc.org, and this is the International Federation of Red Cross and Red Crescent Societies, and this is their consolidated financial statement for 2017. Then gives us another link to grassleysenate.gov. U.S. Senator Chuck Grassley of Iowa and Representative Benny Thompson of Mississippi today introduced legislation to give the congressional watchdog arm complete access to American Red Cross records for oversight purposes. And this is called the American Red Cross Transparency Act of 2019. And it's responding to concerns that the Red Cross tried to quash a review by the Government Accountability Office of its practices, successfully limiting the scope of the review, and has failed to be as transparent as it should be. Now, the Red Cross has been a component of disaster response for decades, but that does not put them above congressional oversight. The public should know how the Red Cross spends both taxpayer dollars and the funds Americans generously donate. With Hurricane Katrina, Sandy, and Harvey, and the 2010 Haiti earthquake, we have seen the Red Cross struggle to fulfill its disaster response mission. The American Red Cross Transparency Act gives the GAO complete access to the Red Cross records when needed to conduct oversight. If the Red Cross refuses to comply, the legislation provides the GAO with authority to bring an action in court to force compliance. Q then gives us another article on the documentcloud.org. This is the letter to investigate the Red Cross. Then gives us another link to npr.org, and this is a report on the Red Cross that spent 25% of Haiti donations on internal expenses. Once again, where did the Red Cross spend this money? Where did it go? And a lot of it cannot be accounted for. And Q is letting us know that the Red Cross is used to funnel funds away from their intended purpose. Down below, it says, the more you know. Mainstream media coverage, ? There is none. When you control the media, you control public opinion. So they just report that the Red Cross is doing good, and that's what people believe. But now we see that the Red Cross is involved in covert operations with funds working for the deep state. Post 3562 gives us a meme, Psalm 78:45, and it says, he sent among them swarms of flies, which devoured them, and frogs, which destroyed them. Psalm 78:45, picture of Hillary Clinton, and there's a fly right above her eye. There's a picture of Obama. There's a fly right above his mouth. And then there's Pepe the frog. And under it, it says -CP. I don't know who -CP is. And that is the meme. Let's move on to post 3563. Q gives us a link to the Pope. This is Pope Francis. And it says, let us pray that the Lord will free the victims of human trafficking and help us to respond actively to the cry for help of so many of our brothers and sisters who are deprived of their dignity and freedom. #End human trafficking. Godfather 3, it's going to be biblical. Now, biblical is all capitalized. Q. Now, Godfather 3 is a movie, and it has a Vatican storyline. And it's almost a real-life type of an account. It is a story of corruption in all sectors of society, including the Catholic Church, and the Godfather's realization that the higher I go, the crookeder it becomes. The Godfather Part 3 interweaves a fictional account of two real-life events, the 1978 death of Pope John Paul I and the papal banking scandal of 81 to 82. So again, since Q is mentioning Godfather 3, we're going to see the news unlock for the Vatican. Post 3564 gives us theguardian.com. And the title of this article is Secret Texts Cast Light on UK's Early Role in Trump-Russia Inquiry. And it reads, senior MI5 and FBI officials share concerns about our strange situation in 2016. Text messages between Andrew McCabe, the deputy director of the FBI at the time, and Jeremy Fleming, his then counterpart at MI5, now the head of GCHQ, also revealed their mutual surprise at the result of the EU referendum, which some U.S. officials regarded as a wake-up call, according to a person familiar with the matter. While Russia had previously been viewed as a country that would seek to interfere in Western elections, the Brexit vote was viewed by some within the FBI as a sign that Russia activities had possibly been successful. Their exchanges offer new insights into the state of the FBI's Russia investigation and how British intelligence appears to have played a key role in the early stages. In one exchange in August 2016, Fleming noted that members of the FBI and MI5 had met our strange situation, a veiled reference to discussions about Russian activities according to the source. The text messages between the two men were infrequent and cryptic and did not contain specific or sensitive materials, but occurred with some regularity after the referendum in June 2016. A spokesperson for McCabe declined to comment. The exchanges underscore a sensitive issue in the U.S., namely the role that foreign intelligence services played in the FBI's decision to initiate an investigation into the Trump campaign. What is happening here? Well, they're trying to get ahead of the story. The mainstream media is putting this out there because they know the facts are about to drop. Post 3565. Q gives us a Twitter link to George Papadopoulos. Now, as soon as that article came out, a little while later, George Papadopoulos tweets the following. And this is how the mainstream media is trying to get ahead of what is coming. Transcripts are out tomorrow. The first demonstrable proof to show that not only did we not collude, but the whole world was against us, and Donald Trump still won in 2016. When it's all said and done, the story will be of a global effort to take us down that backfired big time. Q says, see Guardian article. How do you get ahead of a story? Coincidence? Q. Now, the mainstream media is making a move to get ahead of the story. Why? Because if they release this information before the declass or any other information, it allows them to maintain credibility with the sheep. Look at their actions. They only do this at the last minute when they know something is going to be brought out into the public eye. And they only do it if it's absolutely necessary. And this time it was. And they're trying to get ahead of it to make it seem like they're on top of it. Post 3566. Q gives us a warning. It's in brackets bold. It says 24-hour warning. Be vigilant, see something, say something, know your surroundings at all times. Q. Now, we know information is about to drop. Joe D. has already reported on this. George Papadopoulos is letting us know, and we know they're going to be dripping out a lot of this information. The deep state, they're going to be using ammunition. Now, what's very interesting is that as soon as all of this started to come out, we're starting to see articles again about a major solar storm to strike the Earth this week. And what they're saying is that the massive hole that is formed in the upper atmosphere of the sun and our planet will align with that hole later this week. Once the alignment happens, Earth will be bombarded by a solar storm, and nobody is quite sure yet how bad it will be. If the storm is relatively minor, we could just experience a few disruptions to satellite communications and see some pretty lights in the sky. But if the storm is really severe, well, the electrical grid could be fried. Systems could be taken down. Now, the solar storm is supposed to hit between July 31st or August 1st, or maybe a little bit later. Now, that's one event that they could push. Now, there are many others. Now, right now, school is not in session, but we know that the deep state likes to use shooting at events. Will this be big enough to clog the news cycle? Because that's the whole purpose of this. It's to clog the news cycle and have that plastered all over the place. Now, these aren't the only events, and it doesn't have to happen here in the United States. It could happen anywhere around the world. There could be a terrorist attack someplace in the world. It doesn't make a difference as long as they can clog the news cycle. And this is ammunition that the deep state uses. Now, again, we know that this information is going to come out. Maybe Q is out there giving this information, letting us know that it's coming soon, to allow the deep state to use this ammunition and then have the information come out a week later. Q has done this before. But Q is just letting us know that they will try to do something. And it could be anything, because they know that this is not going to be the only information that is dripped out. There's going to be a lot more coming. So will the solar storm be used? Maybe. Because if they know there's more coming, they can't rely on a one-off event. They need something that will keep systems down and keep everything shut down for quite a while and make the mainstream media the only place where you can get the news. But once again, you have to remember the president has the emergency system. That everyone who has a phone, everyone that has a TV, everyone that has a computer would be able to receive it. And the Patriots have already planned for something like this. Q is warning us that they might attempt this because the information's going to start to flow out. And Q is just warning us, letting us know that this is a huge possibility. And again, Q says, be vigilant, see something, say something, know your surroundings at all times. Listen, everyone, thanks a lot for listening. Be well, be safe, and especially be prepared. Thanks a lot.